Has everybody on this call, have you ever dealt with Dolly, the artificial intelligence image creator? So I wanted to see, just to kind of show where some of this stuff is going, and we'll go into a lot of examples over the next kind of 30, 45 minutes or so. But does anybody have something completely random that you would like to see created? It's not a search engine. This is not seeing what images are out there. This is an artificial intelligence creating images from scratch. Anybody have any random ideas?
I'm gonna call on Nathan. Nathan.
Yeah, sure. I would probably have a puppy riding a unicorn. I've got 2 small kids and think they would love that.
Puppy riding a unicorn, where?
Over a rainbow, probably.
Over a rainbow. That sounds great. Okay. So kind of one of the ideas why I want to go through this as one of the kind of applicable ways that things can be done is right now, this is cutting edge. So not everybody has access to this. With a lot of these systems, you have to apply to get access to it. There are some freer versions of it. And with any of these, if you click one, you can edit it. You can say, show me additional versions of it. You can be as specific as you want. You can say 3 puppies riding a rainbow over a rainbow on a deserted island. And just what you can do from being able to create something that's never been there. We'll switch over to the presentation in just a second, but you can do this with image editing also. You can take any image and say, change something in it. And again, it's not a search engine. This is creating it from scratch, images that have never existed before. And so in the near future, and what we'll talk about a lot over kind of the next half hour, 45 minutes, is that these become easier to use, they become cheaper, and more people get access to them. And so it's kind of one of those things today, if you see something on Instagram or on Facebook and you say you like that picture, I wouldn't necessarily trust that any pictures are real anymore because of how quick and how easy some of these things are to do.
All right, so Chris, let me ask you this, and Autumn and JC, feel free to jump in as well. We want, obviously, like we said, we want this to kind of be interactive since it's a small group today. What's a real life example of how people are using this within real estate, Chris? I mean, I think that's important for us to kind of.
It is. Let me switch back over really quick and just let me pull up a couple different examples. Let's just skip ahead in here for a second and we'll kind of come back. So people use this to edit photos. So you can create, like we put in kitchen with green cabinets. These are kitchens that never existed. So again, this is just an AI creating new kitchens. These people never existed. These are not pictures of existing people. These are artificial intelligence created pictures, just like the photos we just looked at were 100% just created by an artificial intelligence right then. You can kind of say whatever you want. So if you want a contemporary kitchen, green cabinets, granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, large windows open to the forest, again, anything that you say is created from scratch. And you can tweak it, you can change kind of variables with it. But another one, Scott, is image editing. So this was an existing photo of a house that has a pool. And I just said, hey, erase part of it and say a house with with a grass backyard and a wood deck. And here's a bunch of different ones that it came up with. And so it can edit images very quickly. You can pretty much do anything you want. You could say, change the house color, change where the sky is, put mountains in the background. And it's the same as a graphic designer or somebody photo editing. For us, this cost runs about 7 cents per pull to get 4 photos. And so when you think about the cost of video editors, we even did one where you said, hey, do a logo for a coffee house that includes mountains and bold colors. I mean, it can generate logos for you. There's just so many different options of what this can do today. There's also one where you can just hand draw a website and then just take a picture of that. So on a piece of paper or kind of an ink tablet, and then upload it, and it translates that drawing into the actual HTML coding for a website. And you can just go replace the pictures, change where the buttons are, drag them around, and then go upload that somewhere to have an actual website coding. So it's not just the picture side, kind of like start with this because it's a little bit more interactive and you kind of see how it might apply. Right now, it's just pictures. Pretty soon, it's going to be full motion video where you could say, hey, I want a video of, I don't know, 3 dogs riding on a unicorn on a deserted island, and it becomes a cartoon or photorealistic. And so these things are changing very, very quickly. But yeah, I would say video, image editing, image creation, probably the main ways that the photo piece is used in real estate today.
Yeah, because I can see, like, you know, if you're working with buyers at a certain level, you know, being able to allow them to visualize what they want at a particular house, instead of having to go like see 30 different effing houses, excuse my language, you can be like, hey, like if you wanted to adjust this one thing, this is the house you want. Let's take a look at what it looks like, and you can adjust the photo, right? I mean,
that's a really good point. I haven't heard that use case for it, but absolutely. I mean, you can just spit out whatever you like. If somebody wanted to see this house with different color cabinets or different countertops, anything, you can see that in some really high-end design studios where you have different options there. But this is just live editing any image with whatever you type into it. So yeah, absolutely.
It's cool.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So Scott, do you mind if I kind of jump back to the beginning and we kind of
please.
a little bit intent? Okay, awesome. Yeah. So we titled this intentionally, Where Do People Get in the Way? And it's kind of the idea that so much is changing in technology now. Everything that we see with automation, artificial intelligence, it allows humans to be more human. And humans usually get in the way when it comes to, at least today, repetitive tasks, things that could easily be done by software. But a big piece of this presentation is also to help everybody understand just how things are changing and how looking at software today and looking at it 5 years from now are very different answers. Some other really quick real world use cases. So when you think about radiology, hopefully nobody on this call or anybody we know ever gets cancer. But when you think about if you get cancer, normally if you go to the ER and get a radiology scan, you want to get it interpreted, it usually takes a couple hours. And it's based on who's available, how many are coming in at the same time. And again, any of these quotes, if you'd like the links to any of this afterwards, let me know, shoot an email, shoot over Scott, he can get it to me and we'll send those to you. But the Washington Post had an article where today radiologists, and my wife works for an artificial intelligence radiology interpretation service, so I've been able to be around this quite a bit, but radiologists get accurate diagnosis about 77.5% of the time. And AI gets a correct diagnosis 92% of the time. And so it's really a question, if you get diagnosed with something, do you actually want a human diagnosing you, or do you want an artificial intelligence diagnosing you that can do it in minutes? These can, once they're trained once, it can do hundreds or thousands or millions of scans at the same time for the cost of electricity, but they're more advanced than people are because they can take in much more data, run it much faster. There's also another study that was done when surgeons were looking at brain lesions. So somebody that had blood clots and different things inside of their brain. And out of 10 different surgeons, they all came up with different answers. The artificial intelligence came up with the exact same answer every single time. And so it gets rid of just the human bias and having to guess. And it goes with very, very accurate, I mean, running hundreds, thousands of times a second, a minute, whatever it needs to. Another piece, designing a car. So this in the lower right-hand corner, this is a fully artificially intelligence designed supercar. Goes 0 to 62 in 1.9 seconds. And it was 3D printed in aluminum and titanium. So no construction equipment, no people, no designers. And it's fully operational. You can see it on YouTube. You can watch the story of it. But just the idea of what humans need to be used for. And again, if you pick on real estate, you could say architects, you could say construction. There are very many automated construction robots now on construction sites where they're building things themselves, hanging drywall, just all different places that this world is going. But normally auto design is something that took thousands of people quite a long time to kind of go through, test everything, and then assemble, go through production runs. And now between 3D printing and artificial intelligence designers, it already knows all the physics. It understands everything that needs to happen, and it can happen very quickly. Another one, so when you think about design, so Levi Strauss, now they use artificial intelligence and they just tell a program, hey, give me 100 different options for fall. Give me 200 options of that jacket. Give me 30 options of those pants. Give me one that looks more like something else. And very quickly, in minutes or hours, they could do what hundreds or thousands of hours had to do before. And now people can just select and send off for production. And so even the way we utilize designers and creative assets, a lot of times now it's coordinating with an artificial intelligence to get all the options back and then send them off to production. Another one, the University of Surrey is using artificial intelligence to extend the human lifespan, to treat aging as a disease, not treating the diseases that cause death, but actually treating aging itself. And what you've seen what artificial intelligence can do as it understands, I mean, artificial intelligence recently cut probably 20 years off of understanding protein folding for development of treatments and different things, just because everything can happen so quickly at the speed of machine, not the speed that we can figure things out. Scott, I don't know, do you want to, anything you want to jump in here?
No, I just can't wait to be part robot.
Sounds great. That's a scary day, but it's coming up.
Yeah, can't wait. No, I keep thinking about different shows and like how scary this can be.
Yeah.
Like, anyway,
quickly.
Yeah, no, this is good, man. This is wild. I think yeah, anyway, as we continue, we'll get more to like applicable ways that the AI can help within the real estate business, which I think is obviously, of course,
2-3 slides
very important over the next 5 to 10 years. I mean, anyway, the whole landscape of real estate is going to be completely different by 2030. So
yeah, completely agree. Just a couple slides here, and then we'll be into the direct real estate examples. Just really quick, who is Cast Services? Who am I? Why should you even care and listen? So Cast Services, we're an incubator and an operator. So we have 10 partners. Stacy and I are managing partners. And then we have 18 cross real estate industry advisors, everything from top real estate teams, coaches, other technology companies. We incubate many different ideas that come to us from our partners and that we've come up with. And then we're an operator of the ones that we end up rolling out until they go off to other teams. So previously, I ran one of the top real estate teams in the United States, is the #1 team in Colorado, was the founder and CEO of FirePoint Solutions. And then today, the companies we operate, Cast Services, which is artificial intelligence and automation as it applies to many different products. And then also ownership mortgage and ownership insurance, with partner with real estate teams and real estate brokerages. So we focus on fast cycle consulting and implementation. So some of our projects go live within a couple of weeks of when they were started. So trying to get things on the ground very quickly for people. We do fractional automation. So we have clients in this artificial intelligence and robotic process automation world in real estate, mortgage, insurance, medical. We one of the top cardiologists in the world. We're converting their operations from PDF blood reports to machine learning, artificial intelligence, interpreted and data entry to get rid of the people that have to do that, free them up to do more things. Also, our clients can choose to own the solution. Sometimes we have to build things that are native inside of our clients' operations, not just rented from us. And then the reason we work with RealSync and work with Scott, we've known each other for a long time, but when it comes to data access, there's many areas where direct API connections that RealSync provides are how we're accessing data. And we're working with RealSync to pass data back and forth, because sometimes, as you'll see, robotic process automation can be the most efficient. Sometimes it's not. A robot shouldn't necessarily do everything in a manual way. So real world today, so we already went through this as far as the idea of what you can do with pictures, and pretty soon you'll be able to do with video. Again, if anybody wants to jump in, we can always go back and play with that a little bit. Couple other use cases, you'll probably have seen some of these in airports. You have everything from robotic bartenders to coffee machines. Some people laugh at a $300,000 robotic massage table, except when you think of it from a business standpoint, that it can do the work of 2 or 3 employees, and it can run for 20 years with no breaks, and you only paid for it once. And so not everybody's going to prefer a robot, but there are many things that are going to go to robots in the future just because of how inexpensive they are compared to 20 years of paying for 2 or 3 people to do the same type of job. We've got robots now that'll do dishes, make you dinner. You have like handy-written companies in the real estate space that'll handwrite cards for you with pens in your handwriting. We've got robotic snow blowers, vacuum your floor. One important thing with all of these are the Model T version. These are the first versions, the most clunky versions of this technology. And so as you see 2, 3, 5 competitors to each one of these roll out, and it gets less expensive and more features, you'll see much wider adoption. But these are still pretty cutting edge, but they're the Model T. They're the very first version. So really quick, why do we even talk about this presentation? First of all, whenever we give this presentation, we get a lot of really good feedback. It's a reality check. Business is going here. It's when, it's not if, and it's how it's going to be adapted, not if it's adapted. Also, what we'll get into with the real estate stuff in just a second here, it allows you to develop past features. Like each of your programs probably have features that you may or may not like to use. This lets you develop things that aren't even built into systems by pulling other systems together and attacking a problem a different way. When you think about automation and what RealSync does, what we do, it doesn't require retraining. Once you have a model in place, if you improve that model, it improves everybody. What we usually see from an automation standpoint is that our clients save about 60 to 80% on their hard costs when they push a task, even a very complex one, over to a machine. And then one of the biggest things is it allows us to be more human. You're getting leverage for those repetitive tasks to allow us and your employees and your team members to do more with what only they can do. And another piece is you could look at job elimination. There's some quotes in here we'll go through. But job elimination isn't always a bad thing. Like in 2020, 29 million baby boomers retired. That's a tremendous amount of expertise, skills, and labor in the market that just disappeared. And so allowing robots to do more doesn't mean all the jobs are gone. It means we get to adjust to that as we see so many people retiring right now. You're also seeing artificial intelligence and these different features becoming really inexpensive, and you can put them on really inexpensive microchips. So it can be integrated into devices for $10, $20, $50. You can actually have artificial intelligence on your toast if you need to in your toaster, but it's getting much less expensive. It doesn't.
So let's say that hypothetically, we're a real estate agent.
Oh.
So let's say that
Are we getting a question from you, Brenda?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
No worries. Yeah. And again, when you're using a computer, it's really the cost of electricity instead of having to train somebody, house somebody. So when you think about just that idea of a radiologist, what does it take to get 20 radiologists out into the market for 20 years? There's a lot of money around that. Whereas one radiology model for an artificial intelligence runs at the cost of electricity, and it can scale up to millions at a time with very little cost. So just very different animals. So a couple quotes here. These are meant a little bit for shock factor, but also to realize that the world is changing. We have to adjust with it. So we can either get on these bandwagons or not, but some people are going to. So this one quote is talking about that a number of different professions in the US are going to be automated in the next 5 to 10 years. And then another one is talking about that around 40 million jobs at the peak of the pandemic disappeared. 42% of those are lost and gone forever. And robots could replace another 2 million workers by 2025, according to MIT and Boston University. So a lot of this is happening now. You've seen more robots get purchased for service industry in the US than any year prior, just because there's a lot of places that you can't find workers, or these end up being less expensive if you have to give raises to people. And so business owners make different decisions. So I think the last slide here before in the real estate specific examples. So when you say AI, AI is really a buzzword. I mean, everybody says AI is a part of our system. We're using AI. It really gets down to the nitty gritty of what are you really talking about? There's so many different pieces. There's machine learning, which is how a machine can learn to kind of think like a human. There's machine vision, which is the computer using a monitor and understanding what's on it to be able to navigate. There's natural language processing, which is having a computer understand how to pull out intents and what's happening in a conversation, not just the words. Robotic process automation, which is a lot of what we'll talk about, which is robots using computers. So computers using computers the way a human would. And again, it can be inexpensive, integrated into devices. Don't need to spend a lot of time here, but the computers, like the robotic process side, can use so many different things. They can use your web browser, they can use desktop programs, QuickBooks, Excel. They're reading the screen, they're using the mouse and the keyboard, opening files, can work with paper documents, very large databases, and they can connect to things that are offline, like security systems, production lines. And so you don't have to wait for a piece of software to directly be connected. These things can bridge those gaps as the computer pulls up multiple different systems and can do data entry, read things, and then build into other automations. Okay, so now we get into real estate specific uses. So these are all live use cases that our clients either are using today or have used. And so this first one is, all of this is computers doing data entry, putting leads into a system, reading the screen, going through changing things. Like what we see inside of some systems is we have our clients using it to actually manage their entire database and nurture, pulling up leads, going into leads, typing in text messages, doing things that the CRMs necessarily can't, like uploading animated GIFs, sending animated text messages, going through reassigning leads if agents haven't followed up. So you can program these systems to really take over and do database nurture where normally ISAs or people have to do that.
So I'm gonna stop right here. You just went over a lot of information. Does anyone have any questions or like questions about like, all right, you know, you're on here because you have a business or you work for a business where this is, you know, your job is to figure out some of this stuff, right? Does anyone want to have a question around like how does this fit in with what I'm doing in my business? And I know we can get to that, but I think now's a good time if you have a question lingering of like, all right, well, Nathan, you were at the Young team, right?
Yep.
You guys use HubSpot.
We do.
Like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in your particular case, right? Like, Fall Boss, HubSpot. You know,
yeah.
How does this similarities? Yeah.
And how does this differentiate? Like, so you're talking about AI. Is that different than a workflow, or like like how are those different in terms of like using them within a system?
It's a great question. So the way we think about it with our clients is that it is workflow based. It's what's the challenge that you want to accomplish and how do you need a computer to do that? We utilize robotic process automation quite a bit, which is the idea of a computer using a computer. So navigating the keyboard, reading the screen, navigating around between different systems to accomplish those tasks. And then those are all pieces of what people would call kind of in general AI, like robotic process automation is a subset of AI. Computer vision is a subset of AI. And then there's other pieces of artificial intelligence that will plug in for our customers. Sometimes it's machine learning and document recognition. So reading PDFs, pulling that information out, entering that data into other systems. Sometimes it's context analysis. So having artificial intelligence read the actual communication that's coming through from real estate leads, categorizing leads, looking for certain words or intents, adding tags that they can be used later, sending notifications. We even have clients that use it to read huge amounts of data from their clients on other platforms and then notify them when certain keywords come up so they can go interact instead of having to pay somebody to read for hundreds of hours just to find those little snippets. So we insert the other pieces of artificial intelligence as it accomplishes the goals of our clients. Each client uses it a little bit differently depending on what they're shooting for.
Yeah, so Nathan, with HubSpot, for example, like you guys have automation set up off of like different life cycle stages, or could be lead type or lead statuses, things like that, right? That would kick. But someone manually is probably having to do that, right? And decide like, oh, this lead should go onto this automation based on the stage it's at or how it came in or whatever, right? There's someone actually do. What Chris is saying is he could take that knowledge of how that decision's being made and have a computer do it. So it's not having to be done manually every time with a human when a new lead comes in. That's kind of the idea with that particular scenario. And then obviously you can work with a lot of different scenarios within what you're doing every day when it comes to like manual work, not necessarily data entry, but manual work within the CRM itself.
Yeah.
Right, Chris?
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple other, and again, these are just various use cases as far as how people use this. It is not exhaustive. Everything that we built is because somebody had a challenge, had a problem, wanted to figure out how to push more of their operations into an automated fashion. This is the idea of getting custom retargeting, where the system then connects to your CRM, to any spreadsheets, other databases, and is watching all the triggers, kind of like what you just said, and then moving people to different retargeting campaigns. So right away online, they're seeing different marketing as soon as the activities are happening. So you could have a system watch and see when they're favoriting properties, when they're going out on showings, and then that automatically then flips them to a different remarketing campaign on Google and Facebook. So they're seeing different marketing from you based on their actual stage without requiring human intervention. Another one, this is the idea of using synthetic video. You may have heard of deepfakes, which is the idea of letting an artificial intelligence learn somebody's face and voice and then create new content that they never actually did. So not sure if you can hear audio with this. We'll just play this very quickly.
You should be able to, if you reshare, make sure you turn the audio feature on. You should be able to hear it.
Okay.
So you may have to unshare then reshare.
Let me, okay. Share sound. Perfect.
Yep.
Hi, John. Chris Tam here. Hi, Tom. Chris Tam here. Hi, Henry. Hi, Harry. Hi, John.
Hi, Aaron.
Chris
Hi,
Tam.
Aaron.
Hi, Tom.
My name is Stacy. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Colton.
So the idea with that is those names were never said. And so if you have a video that you've created, say a happy birthday video, or thanks for registering on whatever lead source, or any of those different types of messages, the artificial intelligence can learn your face, your voice, and then like merge tags from like a regular email merge, real-time video can be created and sent out to your contacts saying, hey, Scott, thanks for registering on my website. Hey, Nathan, thanks for registering on realtor.com. And things like the name, the lead source, and other information can be replaced where it's still you saying it. And so it allows personal video at scale instead of just these generic templates of, hey, thanks for registering. We'd like to talk to you. It becomes personal video to that person. Another one is kind of around conversation and engagement. This specifically is a structurally integration. Where even systems that aren't integrated to something like an AI or an NLP chatbot like this, Our systems can go in with robotic process automation, read the screen, read the responses, and still feed it back to an AI to have that conversation, come back in and type an email, type a text message. It also allows cross-context communication. So if you have somebody that hasn't responded to the last 2 text messages, the system can easily pivot over and send an email or send a voicemail drop, whether it's an AI-generated voicemail drop, so it's personal to them, or something more generic. And then also through integrations like Structurally or with Watson AI or some other services that our clients work with, you can build that directly into your system to let an AI actually take over parts of the conversation. And you can build in where those stops are. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to stop? When do you want to engage a person based on the intents? And so the idea that if you have 2, 3, 4, 600 pay-per-click leads coming in, you may or may not want a person fully engaged there, depending on the system that you have following up with those. Couple more here. This is the idea of custom reporting and alerts, of letting a system manage things that are just too cumbersome for a person to manage. So this first one, this was a list. This is an actual report, but the system goes in and is watching hundreds of phone calls that are coming in every single day, and then watching every single one of those phone calls with a timer at 5 minutes to see if somebody's responded to it or given them a call back, if the call was missed when it came in, and notifying somebody through a Slack channel, through a text message, however they want to, that, hey, this person could be dropped. It can watch text messages and emails. So the idea of telling you or telling your sales staff, hey, here are people that might be falling through the cracks, or at least letting the system sweep up behind them. Most people don't want to pay their staff to go through hundreds of calls and go look up each one individually. It's a great use for a computer that can just do that over and over and over. Also, some of the different types of reporting that people use to help manage their CRM. We have a lot of clients that ask the system to go in and audit every single lead individually for different things at different times, and then send out notifications. So like this one specifically says, hey, quick update for day of the 26 leads today, 14 did not follow up at 30 minutes, 12 did not follow up at 45 minutes. This particular client has a system also sending out text messages to the agent and to the leadership at different timeframes if follow-up hasn't been made, so they can then reassign the lead and deal with it. So very customizable in order to fit in operations. A lot of times, sales managers are the ones that are going through and auditing the database, making sure everything's been done. Even if ISAs are doing that, it's much less expensive to teach a computer what you're looking for. And then at it real time, it can go into every lead at 3 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it looks like, do all those different audits, send those notifications, and no people are required. And again, with this, it's navigating the actual website. So it's actually logging in, dealing with 2-factor authentication, navigating the website, pulling out information, and then sending notifications. So really it can integrate to your workflows the way that your people actually work.
Oof. I just keep thinking about all the ways I could use it.
Yeah, so far, any thoughts, anything anybody wants to talk about?
Anyone have any specific questions to their particular business and their workflows? I think that'd be interesting, especially because we only have, there's only 7 or 8 of you on the call. We'd love to, I'd love to give Chris some challenges here on, how this could work within your business, right?
Ian, you want to go for it?
Ian, go ahead. You're off mute.
Okay. Well, Ian, if you want to just holler whenever you want.
You can put your question in the chat too if your audio is not working for some reason.
Okay. So we'll wait for Ian to jump in there. Another application is we have some clients that want a full system wrapped around their systems. And so the idea that they might have an agent that's logging into a CRM, logging into 2 or 3 different update portals, logging into spreadsheets and the MLS and maybe some other systems. And so what we did for them was build a front-end application. So we build these on just best-in-class solutions. So like on Microsoft, on Google. But the agent then is only interacting with a custom app on the front end where they're getting their leads, getting their appointments, seeing their reports. And as they're entering data back into the app, it's then interfacing, and the robotic process automation is then going and typing that information into the CRM, into the other update portals, into their spreadsheets. And so it allows to eliminate the duplication, and they can get a custom workflow exactly the way they want it. And they have full control over this. Again, it's going to be built inside their environment, so anybody can develop on it very inexpensively. And so it doesn't always have to be a high cost subscription where they're renting it. It allows businesses to really build what they want to while still interacting with the off-the-shelf tools that they want to keep. Ian had a question here that does AI do any big data analysis for potential clients in the real estate and remodeling business? So yes, big data analysis and data learning and pulling extractions from data is another use of that machine learning and artificial intelligence. And so like an idea would be all of these thousands and thousands of blood test reports in the medical world, letting the artificial intelligence come up with recommendations and come up with commonalities, or ask it questions and have it come up with solutions. Kind of same thing on the real estate side. If you were to connect a database of 100,000 transactions or all the different properties and ask questions, the artificial intelligence can very quickly learn all that information and give you answers back. It just needs to be guided as far as what you're looking for, what are the areas of opportunity. And so what we find is probably about 60 to 70% of what we do can be carbon copied and reinstalled, but there's always that 30, 40% where it's customized to each client, because your rules, your uses, how you manage your agents, the information you're looking for is always a little bit different. Okay. This is another one. This is one of our more common uses, along with kind of the system management, database nurture, and agent auditing. This is using the system to then go put in information to other systems. So specific to the real estate space, there are many different portals where when you're working a lead, you have to go and type in updates, change statuses, and that can affect your referral rate, how much business you get, and what your stats are. And so as an example for that, if somebody has, say, 1,500 of those leads that need to get updated every 7 days, that turns out to 300 updates every day, 20 days out of the month. And so that's a lot of agent time. It's a lot to manage. There's a lot of just staff time in general. And so what we do is we have the system, the automation computer, go log into the CRM, check the information, pull out any reassignments for agents, status, notes, tags, and then it actually goes and logs into the portal systems, types those updates in, and edits the statuses as needed, because the statuses between these different portals don't always match your CRM statuses. So you can tell it what you want the statuses to be, but it completely eliminates that idea of having hundreds of updates per day that have to go in. We have one client that saves about 250 hours per month of manual typing time by just letting the computer run these all the time as changes are happening in their organization. So again, anything to kind of eliminate that, the routine steps in your business to give your agents and your team more of their time back. And that's also recruiting and retention benefit. Are you going to require people to do all the busy work, or do you have systems that can do it for them?
All right, so real quick, let's stop here. This is a big thing, and we work with a lot of teams that just have this problem that you just talked about. So we're talking any sort of lead that you're generating that you're paying a referral on. OpCity, Realtor.com, Ojo, HomeLight, Dave Ramsey, I don't know, it goes on and on and on, right? Where you have to go back into their system and do the updates manually. The reality is these companies do not have APIs. So our company does a lot of parsing of that data when that comes into your email, into your CRM, but we can't send anything back because there's no inbound API into that system, because these companies, it's just not a priority for them right now. The reality is they're making a lot of money sending you qualified leads, right? So them making it easier for you isn't something that they really, I don't know, they're just not prioritizing, right? So it is what it is. But Chris has the solution with what he does. Literally explained it. I mean, he can have the computer programmed to go and just do that for you, weekly, right? And the amount of time, errors, the potential, business or commissions or more leads that you won't miss out on because you're getting your updates in on time. Just that whole headache of that process. Woof. Game changer. Just that one thing right there of all the stuff we talk about, that's a huge, huge piece, So.
And very much agree with you. Some other things that have been neat, for us is neat just to see what the clients request and where their challenges are. And We had some clients request that based on the system managing all their different referral sources and all their different statuses, to have the system tell them, hey, if any of these leads are an appointment set for more than 7 days, notify us right away. If any of these don't have the tags that they're supposed to have inside of, pick on Boomtown, then tell us right away. And so the system, because it's going through and combing through all this data, we can give it other rules and it can do those at the same time. It can notify people, bring up alerts. And so it's not just doing that task, it's also ingesting all that information, and you can ask it what information you want back. So if you think about things that you wish you could always know if things didn't happen, again, if it's in your system anyway, pulling this information, it's fairly easy for it just to gather a little more and then tell you when certain things happen or don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge time savings, man, because it's like you have all this data. If you have a big team or a lot of agents, you have all this data in your CRM, and just combing through it, it's like, or hiring a virtual assistant to do that, where you can like reallocate that labor for them to do something more productive, sales oriented, right?
Absolutely.
And let a machine send you these texts of like, this is all the leads you have that haven't been followed up with, or all the leads that are in this stage that need to be, touched, or all the ones that came in that there's no automation set up. Like, you're getting this visibility into your system that you would have to have like admin staying on top of all the time. What a pain, what a waste of labor time,
Yeah. Or you have to wait for a system to develop a certain report to where you can see it. And that's the idea. This extends any system because it can use the same computers we're using. It can read like we are. It can just run those a lot faster, do a lot more at the same time. Like, we have one client, when we started with them, they had 20 virtual assistants, and they were doing all types of these different tasks and auditing and all these different processes. And over time, again, their choice where they use that time, let them be more human. Like you said, Scott, put them into more sales focused activities, but let a computer much less expensively just take over these routine data entry, data scraping, data adjustment, and using multiple systems.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A couple more quotes here. So this was a McKinsey global study. It's found that by 2030, they think 800 million people will lose their jobs to automation. That's 1/5 of the entire global workforce. They think almost double that. 1/3 is going to have to retrain. The big quote from them was Oxford finds that 47% of all US workers think that the jobs will be automated in the next 20 years. So they think 47% of Americans that currently hold jobs, those jobs won't exist anymore in the next 20 years. From them, what they're talking about is that remaining professions are the ones that are very close contact with people. Maintenance, hairdressers, therapists, social workers, teachers, healthcare, caretakers. Even the way real estate works today is very much a belly-to-belly relationship business. So those are the safest ones. Those are the hardest things to turn over to a robot. And again, not everybody will choose a robot. And humans in the remaining professions, humans are always the highest earning because they deal with the nuance and the relationship. So these are all good for people. But I think it's also a wake-up call. The U.S. Congress and the Department of Defense had a study a couple of years ago, and they said the effect of artificial intelligence on the American workforce and society was like electricity, not like the internet, not like the computer, but like electricity that then led to computers and the internet and all these other things, because it just enables a way for us to work and think very differently. And we're just seeing now kind of these Model T versions really affecting the way we work. Like, our products and our clients, many of them wouldn't exist without machine learning and artificial intelligence. Even the stuff that we do inside of search engine optimization, we use artificial intelligence in many different ways. It does the work with 1/3 the number of humans, which allows us to give 3 times the results for the same cost. So a couple slides here just talking about kind of organization, how you see things. When you're running an organization, as you think about this, really thinking through what tasks and processes are changing in your world. When you think about marketing, design, content, those are changing very rapidly. Any type of repetitive actions, reports, data entry, if you're checking for information, if you're updating sites or systems, again, custom reporting. There's this one report that a client came to us and said, hey, I want you to watch every single phone call, every single text message that ever comes in, and at 5 minutes, see if there's been a reply back. That would be such a heavy process for somebody to do when there's 100,000 leads sitting in a system. But again, a computer can do those things. Is that something that was just too cumbersome to do before? And now a computer can do it instead of a human even needing to. I think this is the last quote here. They're talking about the US. So Texas, Louisiana, Indiana, and Oregon have the most jobs and the most segments that are probably going to be eliminated by artificial intelligence. Oxford Economics recommended that even with these job losses, they urge lawmakers not to prohibit the rise of automation, that the recommendations that workers should audit their own jobs and figure out if it's going to be taken over by a machine. And their closing quote was very telling, that everybody needs to adopt a lifetime learning mindset, that there are no jobs for life, that things are changing too fast now. Like, we don't know if accounting 101 AI rolls out next year and 80% of accountants get absorbed into a software system. And the abilities are all there today. It's who's developing what, when does it get rolled out, when do they get connected. So again, just very quick overview of some of the different pieces, but happy to continue the conversation and talk through some more specifics or what's doable, what some of the challenges are.
Yeah, I'm starting to train as a plumber already.
There you go. Yes.
Start my own plumbing company. No, I think this is really good, Chris. It's really insightful. Does anyone have any specific questions about some of the systems or the things that they're doing, the workflow they have within their particular business that they'd be interested to learn about how this would be applicable to your specific business? Autumn?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. So quick question.
Sure.
So we do have other sources of leads that we get, like Home Light and things like that we have to Fast Expert, where we have to go back in and input an update for the representatives there. And you're saying that the AI that you guys could offer would be updating those on our behalf. Did I get that right?
Yeah, correct. So in a sense, you create what the triggers are, and we can obviously help you with ideas on what other clients use. But you could say Home Light, for example, you could have it go in and the system would log into your CRM every couple days, check every single lead that's assigned that was from Home Light, check for statuses, new agent assignments, and then go log into Home Light, find that same lead, type in the update, and then reset its calendar for 2, 3, 5, 10 days later based on the triggers that you set. And then it just continues to manage. We have some clients where it's doing 400, 800 of these a day. So it can do very many. And there's some clients where they're smaller, it might be doing 10, 20, 50 of these per day.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, because that is something that we are definitely annoyed by because we get so many emails. We need an update, on Susan Smith, and it's just another thing that our ISA has to go in and update. And it's if we don't do it in a timely manner, then they keep sending emails, and it's just a lot of the same work. So yeah, that was interesting.
This is the solution to that, Autumn.
Okay.
And, being an integration platform, I've talked to a lot of these companies asking them to build APIs so that I could automate it, through triggers when you do that stuff in your CRM. But the reality is they haven't built those. There's no way to send in data. So this is the alternative solution that based on like, hey, if this lead changes this status, I want it to change in Home Light too, right? Or if there's a note added, I want it to check for the note
added. Exactly.
Every couple days, right? Or a tag or whatever those things are that Home Light's requiring you put in to that lead. Chris's AI can set that up to automate it so it just logs into your Home Light and does it for you every couple days, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's super cool.
That's very, very cool. Okay. So then the other thing is that you had mentioned like within like a video and like a welcome video, and you were saying hello Todd or hello Charles, and you didn't actually say the name, but it fills in it for you. That's also pretty wild, because we definitely want to start to incorporate video texts to new leads and different things like that. So is it just like you make a regular video just saying any name and then it just fills it in for you, or that's not you at all? Or can you explain that more? Because
Yeah, absolutely. There's creation from nothing. That is not as advanced as if you record a template and just have certain things filled by artificial intelligence. So it's more stable and more realistic if you would record a template, and you have to do it somewhere where the audio is pretty controlled, because weird audio makes a computer run in a weird way. But if you were to record a template that said, don't know, hey Adela, wanted to say happy birthday and great to meet you wherever. You don't want to do the entire thing created, but you could have the name, you could have the happy birthday be replaced, you could have maybe a phone number. And then as that information comes in and the system's told to build a video, it uses what it learned about you. So you would actually record a 15-minute video for it to learn your face and your name. And it has to be similar to the tone you want to use. So like if I wanted it to be sales, like, hey, Autumn, great to meet you. I wouldn't want to be reading to the AI in like a stale book voice. I mean, you want to be as animated as you want it to learn because you speak differently in your mood. But yes, then when it comes in, it just rebuilds the video, puts it up on a web page to where they can click on a link and go see the video, and then it can be formatted to be a video email, video text message. Yeah.
Text message. Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, those are my only 2 questions at the moment. But yeah, okay. Well, that's good to know. I will definitely be talking to Jimmy about a lot of this.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Autumn. Ian, JC, anybody else? Questions while you're here? All right. Well, Ian, I think your audio's still not working, man. It's weird. Chris, if someone wants to get in touch with you to
I would
chat
say
further about their specific use case, what's the best bet here?
Yeah, best way, if you're in touch with Scott, he can obviously refer you over to us. That's an easy connection. You can go to cast.services, so .services. You can also email Chris at cast.services and get you in touch with anybody in our team that deals with specifically what you're looking for. It's just, I would say it's been neat because everything that we build has been built by request because it didn't exist in the market. And we have not run into anything that somebody asked for that couldn't be built. And so every month we find clients that have been doing this for a year. They come in and month 1, they want something to audit their agents. Month 2, they're asking about another process. Month 6, they're dreaming about something entirely different. And I think that's the exciting piece, is seeing where people dream with this and where it goes, because these are the early days. This is the Model T, the first implementations of using it in small business. And those are just going to continue to grow and snowball, and all the pieces are going to get more efficient. So to me, a year from now is way more exciting than today, but you can do things today. If I could have had this in business 10 years ago, I mean, night and day difference as far as how you utilize people, what they have to do. But yeah, please get in touch. We'd love to talk. And if you have ideas on stuff that hasn't happened yet, it's where we like to play right as well. We work with a lot of coaches and other software companies in this space to accomplish things that they don't do internally. So yeah, any ideas, any connections, it's always great.
Awesome. And then Ian, wanted to thank you for the presentation, Chris, as well as I do. Like Chris said, you can reach out to cast.services, or you can connect with me and I'll connect you, and we work in conjunction together. So Chris, thank you so much for your time and presenting this. I think, we're ahead of the game a little bit here, which is exciting. It's the place we want to be. And more people are going to be having to adopt these solutions as things continue to go the way they're going. So thanks so much, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time also. I look forward to what we build next. And yeah, if you're already a client of RealSync, it makes it even easier for us because we can get a lot of the data back and forth. And then even if you're not, we might be having this conversation with Scott anyway to figure out how we get all the data moved around. There are some cases that are right for what we're doing. There are many cases that are right for what Scott's doing. In many cases, we do them both at the same time.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time, and have a good rest of your short week.
Thank you.
Thanks. See y'all.
See ya.
Bye.